There's a peculiar weight to the way the morning light spills through the kitchen window, catching on the dust motes that hover like tiny, aimless ghosts. I stand here, at 41, with a cup of coffee cooling in my hands, staring at the chipped edge of the counter as if it holds some secret I've yet to decipher. My name is Elira, and this suburban home, quiet, predictable, with its beige walls and worn linoleum, has been my world for nearly 2 decades. It's not a bad life, not by any measure. But lately, I've felt this itch beneath my skin. A restless hum I can't quite name. I catch my reflection in the glass of the microwave, tracing the fine lines that have started to carve their way around my eyes. And I wonder if I've misplaced something essential along the way. Something I didn't even know I had until it was gone. Across the room, Thomas, my husband of 18 years, sits at the table, the rustle of his newspaper a familiar soundtrack to our mornings. At 43, he's a steady presence, all quiet strength and measured words, his dark hair just starting to gray at the temples. There's a calm to him, a stillness that used to feel like safety. But now, sometimes, it borders on distance. I watch him turn a page, his brow furrowing slightly over something he's reading, and I'm struck by how much I still love him, even if that love feels like a well-worn sweater, comforting but lacking the spark it once had. The clink of my mug against the counter seems louder than it should, a small intrusion into the silence between us, and I find myself wishing for something. A jolt. A shift. Anything to break through the haze of routine that settled over us like a fine layer of dust. Our intimacy, once a wildfire that could consume entire nights, has dimmed over the years. It's not that we fight or harbor grudges. It's more insidious than that. It's the slow creep of familiarity, the way we've memorized every gesture, every sigh, until there's little left to discover. I miss the hunger, the way we used to explore each other with a kind of desperate curiosity, tangled in moments so intense they'd leave us breathless and laughing in the dark. Now, those memories feel like echoes, and I'm left wondering if we've simply run out of ways to surprise each other. But there's no bitterness in it, just a quiet ache, a longing for something I can't quite articulate. Lately, though, Thomas has been different. Not in any dramatic way, but in the small, cryptic things he says. Just yesterday, as we were washing dishes side by side, he looked at me with this odd intensity and murmured, "I want to see you differently, Elira." His voice was low, almost a whisper, and I froze, sponge in hand, unsure of what he meant. See me differently how? As someone new? As someone I'm still mulling over Thomas's cryptic words from yesterday when he comes into the kitchen later that evening, his eyes carrying a strange, electric energy. He doesn't say much at first, just grabs the car keys from the hook by the door and turns to me with a look I can't quite place. "Let's go for a drive, Elira," he says, his voice low and deliberate, like he's been planning this for a while. There's no room for questions in his tone, and though a flicker of uncertainty stirs in my chest, I nod, pulling on a thin coat over my sweater. That restless itch under my skin flares up again, and I can't tell if it's nerves or anticipation, as I follow him out into the cool night. The hum of the car engine is a steady drone as we pull away from the familiar glow of our suburban street. I watch through the window as the city lights begin to thin out, their harsh fluorescence giving way to the softer, sparser glow of street lamps on the edge of town. Soon, even those fade, swallowed by the deep, inky darkness of rural roads. The world outside feels vast and empty, the only sound the rhythmic thrum of tires on asphalt and the occasional rustle of wind against the car. I glance at Thomas, his profile sharp in the dim light of the dashboard, his hands gripping the steering wheel with a tension I don't often see. There's a glint in his eyes, a mix of excitement and something darker, something I can't read, and it sends a shiver down my spine that has nothing to do with the chill seeping through my coat. "Where are we going?" I ask, my voice sounding smaller than I intend in the quiet of the car. He doesn't answer right away, just keeps his gaze fixed on the road ahead, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "You'll see soon enough," he finally says, and there's an edge to his words that makes my heart beat a little faster. I want to press him, to demand answers, but something in his silence keeps me quiet, my curiosity wrestling with a growing unease as the miles stretch on. Eventually, the pavement gives way to gravel, the sound of it crunching under the tires loud in the stillness as we slow to a stop. I peer out the window, my breath catching at the sight before me. It's an old house, isolated and forgotten on the outskirts of nowhere, its silhouette jagged against the moonlit sky. The porch sags like it's tired of holding itself up, the paint peeling in long curling strips, revealing the weathered wood beneath. The windows stare down at us, dark and unblinking, like hollow eyes that have seen too much. It's eerie, no question about it, but there's something magnetic about it too. A pull I can't explain, like the house itself is daring me to step closer. Thomas cuts the engine, the sudden silence pressing in around us, broken only by the distant mournful sound. As I step through the creaking door of that old forgotten house, the air inside hits me like a wall, thick with the scent of aged wood and something muskier, something I can't quite place. My boots echo on the uneven floorboards, each step amplifying the thudding in my chest. Thomas is right behind me, his presence a quiet anchor, but it's not enough to steady the storm brewing in my mind. The hallway stretches into shadow, and as we move deeper, a faint flicker of light draws me toward a wide, open room at the heart of the house. I stop short at the threshold, my breath hitching in my throat at the sight before me. 7 men stand in a loose circle in the center of the cavernous space, their towering figures casting long, jagged shadows across the walls. The room is bare, save for a few scattered pieces of furniture, and the only light comes from a cluster of candles on a low table, their flames dancing and sputtering, painting the men's faces in half-light and mystery. I can't make out their features clearly, but I feel the weight of the moment settling over me, stares, sharp and piercing, like I've stumbled into a den of wolves and I'm the only thing on their minds. My skin prickles, every nerve on edge, as if my body knows something my mind hasn't caught up to yet. I'm frozen, rooted to the spot, my pulse hammering so loud I'm sure they can hear it. One of them steps forward, his movements slow and deliberate, like he's savoring the moment. He's close enough now that I can see the glint in his eyes, a hunger that makes my stomach twist. His hand reaches out, fingers brushing against the side of my neck with a touch so light it's almost ghostly. Yet it sends a jolt through me, a shiver that races down my spine and settles somewhere deep and forbidden. It's not fear, though it should be. It's something else, something raw and untamed, something I've kept buried for so long I barely recognize it. Before I can process it, another man moves behind me, his presence a sudden heat at my back. His hand grazes the small of my back, lingering just long enough to make my breath catch again, and I'm trapped between them, caught in a current I don't know how to escape, or if I even want to. I turn my head seeking Thomas, needing some kind of grounding, some sign of what I'm supposed to do. He's already settled into a large worn armchair in the corner of the room, his posture relaxed, but his face unreadable, a mask of calm that only deepens my confusion. The candlelight catches the edges of his features, making him look both familiar and like a stranger all at once. Our eyes meet, and he gives a slow, deliberate nod, his voice cutting through the charged silence. "You can do anything, Elira. I'll just watch." The words land like a stone in still water, rippling through me with a force that steals the air from my lungs. My mind reels, scrambling to make sense of what he's saying, what he's implying. He wants this. He wants to see me with these men, to witness me in a way that shatters every boundary we've ever set. The realization is a punch to the gut, both horrifying and electrifying, and I'm left teetering on the edge of something I never imagined I'd face. Inside, I'm a mess of contradictions. There's the part of me that's loyal to Thomas, the part that spent 18 years building a life with him, promising to be his and his alone. That part screams at me to step back, to run from this room and never look back. But there's another part, quieter but insistent, clawing its way to the surface. A part of me I didn't even know existed until this moment. It whispers of desire, of a need I've suppressed for years, a hunger for something beyond the safe, predictable life I've known. I'm torn, caught between duty and this dark, uncharted pull. And as the men close in, their touches growing bolder, more intentional, I feel the weight of the air in the room feels heavier now, as if the very walls are holding their breath. The men step back, their figures dissolving into the flickering shadows cast by the dwindling candlelight, leaving me alone in the center of this cavernous space. I'm trembling, my body still buzzing with a raw, electric energy that I can't quite name. My knees feel weak as I sink to the worn rug beneath me, the coarse fibers scratching against my skin, grounding me in a moment that feels anything but real. My mind is a tempest, swirling with emotions I can't untangle. Shame, exhilaration, confusion, all crashing together like waves against a jagged shore. I keep my eyes fixed on the floor, on the intricate patterns of dust and age etched into the fabric, because I'm not ready to face Thomas. Not yet. I'm terrified of what I might see in his gaze, disgust for what just unfolded, anger at how far I let things go, or worst of all, a cold indifference that would cut deeper than any words. My hands shake as I try to pull myself together, smoothing down the fabric of my disheveled clothes with clumsy, fumbling fingers. Every movement feels deliberate, almost painful, as if I'm piecing myself back into the woman I was before I stepped into this house. My blouse clings to my skin, damp with perspiration, and I can feel the heat still lingering on my cheeks, a flush I can't will away. The candlelight, once soft and mysterious, now seems harsh and unforgiving, illuminating every imperfection, every tremor in my hands, every bead of sweat on my brow. It's as if the light itself is judging me, stripping me bare in a way that feels more exposing than anything that just happened. My breath comes in shallow, uneven gasps, and I press my palms against the rug, trying to anchor myself, to stop the world from spinning out of control. I hear the creak of the floorboards before I see him, each slow, deliberate step echoing in the oppressive silence. My heart slams against my ribcage, a frantic rhythm that drowns out everything else as Thomas approaches. I can feel his presence looming closer, a familiar warmth that's both comforting and terrifying in this moment. I don't want to look up, don't want to meet his eyes, but I know I can't avoid it forever. Swallowing hard, I force myself to lift my gaze, my vision blurring for a moment before it settles on him. He's kneeling beside me now, his frame casting a shadow over me, and I'm struck by how steady he seems, how composed, while I'm a trembling mess on the floor. His hand reaches for mine, his fingers warm and firm as they close around my own, and the contact sends a jolt through me, a lifeline in the chaos of my thoughts. "You were magnificent, Elira. I'm proud." His voice is a low whisper, intimate and intense, and the words hit me like a shockwave, reverberating through every corner of my being. I blink up at him, my mind struggling to process what he's saying. Proud? Of me? After everything that just transpired in this room, with those men whose presence still lingers like a ghost in the background? I search his face, expecting to find some trace of sarcasm or bitterness, but there's none. His eyes, dark and piercing in the dim light, hold a quiet sincerity that unnerves me. There's no anger, no regret, just this strange, unwavering intensity that makes my chest tighten. A warmth I didn't expect blooms inside me, mingling with the confusion, and I realize he meant every word he spoke earlier, when he gave me permission to step into this uncharted territory. He wanted this, wanted to see me in a way I never imagined he could. I keep searching his expression, desperate for any sign of doubt or hesitation, but all I find is a kind of satisfaction. A look that suggests he's rediscovered something, maybe in me, maybe in himself. It's as if this moment, this raw and untamed experience, has peeled back layers we'd both forgotten existed. My lips part, but no words come. I'm too overwhelmed, too. The morning after feels like stepping into a different world, even though I'm back in the familiar embrace of our kitchen. Sunlight pours through the window, a golden stream that dances across the counter, highlighting every scratch and imperfection in the old wood. The smell of fresh coffee lingers in the air, rich and grounding, a stark contrast to the storm still raging inside me. I stand by the sink, gripping the edge with white knuckles, unable to settle, unable to sit still. My body hums with a restless energy, as if last night's events have rewired something deep within me. I can't stop replaying every moment in my mind, each memory vivid and sharp, cutting through the mundane normalcy of this space like a blade. I see it all again. The dim flicker of candlelight in that old house, the weight of unfamiliar eyes on me, the way my skin prickled under touches that weren't Thomas's. My thoughts churn, a tangled mess of guilt and something else, something I'm almost afraid to name. I think of our wedding day, 18 years ago, the promises we made under a canopy of summer blooms, vowing to be each other's only. That memory stings now, a reminder of boundaries crossed, of lines blurred beyond recognition. But then, layered over that guilt, there's a thrill that refuses to fade. A rush that surges through me when I recall the heat of those moments. The way I felt so alive, so seen, in a way I haven't in years. It's a dangerous feeling, one that makes my heart race even now, standing here in the safety of my own home. And then there are Thomas's words, echoing in my ears, that quiet, intense declaration of pride. I didn't expect it to hit me so hard, to fill me with a strange, unexpected warmth. I realize, with a jolt that both terrifies and frees me, that I liked it. More than I thought I would, more than I should. And as I stand here, staring at the sunlight glinting off a spoon on the counter, I admit it to myself. I have no regrets. That confession feels like shedding a heavy coat I've worn too long, but it also leaves me exposed, vulnerable to whatever comes next. Across the table, Thomas sits with his coffee, the steam curling lazily upward. He's different this morning, though I can't pinpoint exactly how at first. There's a new weight to the way he looks at me, his gaze lingering longer than it has in years, as if he's seeing me for the first time. His eyes, dark and searching, hold an intensity that makes my breath catch. A silent acknowledgement of the shift between us. I fidget with the hem of my sleeve, my fingers restless, my mind still spinning when he breaks the silence. His voice is casual, almost too casual, but there's a deliberate edge to it, a careful intent that makes my stomach tighten. Next time, Elira, I think we should find a bigger room. Maybe more people, more men. The words land like a spark on dry tinder, igniting a rush of shock and excitement that I can't control. My pulse quickens, hammering in my ears, even as a voice in my head screams for caution, for me to step back from this edge we're teetering on. But my body betrays me, heat blooming under my skin, a reaction I can't suppress no matter how much I try to reason with myself. I stare at him, my mouth dry, searching for something to say, some way to navigate this moment. His expression doesn't waver. There's no hint of jest, no uncertainty, just a quiet confidence that tells me he's already thought this through. He's not asking if I'm okay with what happened last night. He's telling me he wants to dive deeper, to explore this new, uncharted territory we've stumbled into. And I realize, with a clarity that shakes me to my core, that this isn't just a fleeting lapse, a one-time breach of everything we've known. This is the beginning of something else, something dangerous and intoxicating, a chapter in our marriage I never saw coming. My mind races with the implications. The days following Thomas's suggestion feel like walking on a tightrope, a delicate balance between the life I've always known and this new, uncharted path we're tiptoeing toward. There's an electric undercurrent to everything now, a tension that hums beneath the surface of our daily routine, unspoken but impossible to ignore. I find myself hyper-aware of every small interaction, every glance, every brush of contact. When Thomas reaches for the coffee pot in the morning, his fingers graze mine, lingering just a moment longer than necessary, and it sends a jolt through me, a silent reminder of the shift between us. I catch his eyes across the room sometimes, and there's a knowing look in them, a shared secret that makes my heart race and my thoughts spiral. It's as if we're both waiting for the other to speak first, to acknowledge the door we've cracked open, but neither of us dares to push it wider just yet. I've noticed how my own mind wanders in the quiet moments, drifting to possibilities I never would have entertained before. While folding laundry or washing dishes, I catch myself daydreaming about what might come next, imagining scenarios that both thrill and unnerve me. My pulse quickens at the thought of stepping further into this unknown, of exploring the boundaries we've only just begun to test. But there's a shadow to these thoughts too, a flicker of fear that creeps in when I'm alone with my reflections. What if this hunger we've reawakened consumes us entirely? What if it unravels everything we've built over these 18 years? I don't have answers, and that uncertainty gnaws at me, even as a part of me, a growing, insistent part, yearns to find out where this could lead. A few days later, we decide to take a walk through the local park, a place we've visited countless times over the years. The air is crisp, carrying the faint scent of autumn leaves and damp earth, and the paths are alive with the hum of everyday life. Couples stroll hand in hand, their laughter floating on the breeze, while families push strollers or toss frisbees on the open grass. Children dart past us, their carefree shouts echoing in the distance, and I can't help but feel a stark contrast between their normalcy and the weight of the secret Thomas and I now carry. On the surface, we must look like any other pair, just another husband and wife enjoying a quiet afternoon. But beneath that facade, there's a current of something darker, something unspoken that binds us in a way I can't fully grasp. Every step feels heavier, as if the ground itself knows we're different now, marked by an experience that sets us apart from the world around us. We walk side by side, close enough that our shoulders occasionally brush, and I'm acutely aware of Thomas's presence. His hand finds mine, his grip firm yet gentle, and the warmth of his skin against mine sends a shiver up my arm. It's a simple gesture, one we've shared 1,000 times, but now it feels loaded, charged with a new meaning I'm still trying to understand. I steal a glance at him, catching the way the afternoon light softens the lines of his face, and I see that same intensity in his eyes, a quiet promise of things yet to come. My breath catches, and I look away quickly, focusing on the crunch of gravel underfoot, trying to anchor myself in the moment. But my mind keeps drifting, pulled back to the memory of that night, to the way it felt to be seen in a way I hadn't been in years, and to Thomas's words about pushing further, diving deeper. As we continue along the winding path, I let my thoughts wander, wrestling with the duality of what I feel. There's a part of me that's terrified of where this might lead, of the potential to lose ourselves in this newfound desire. What if it's a fire that burns too hot, leaving nothing but ashes in its wake? But there's another part, stronger with each passing day, that craves the heat, that wants to see how far we can go before we reach the edge. I don't know if this hunger will save us, rekindling a connection we thought was lost. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.